Oh, hello. Hello, everybody. Hi. Hi. Hi, everyone. So, yeah, it's kind of obvious what we're here. Santi, darling, hi. My love, how are you doing? I hope you've been having a lovely, awesome, amazing, awesome, sweet, amazing, great, happy, joyous day. I genuinely hope so. I am doing good, I suppose. Ready? Genuinely, since I've been sleeping better these past couple of weeks, well, weeks, past couple of days, I'm honestly beginning to think that I should put my streams earlier because, by at around this time, I'm starting, not really, but I'm starting to get tired, right? And I honestly just think I'll do earlier streams. For example, tomorrow I'm doing an early stream. I'll be streaming at I forgot the actual time, but I will be streaming earlier in the day, and I will be playing Marvel Rivals. Oh, what the fuck? Marvel Rivals, not Marvel Rivals. Yay! Yeah, yay! It's definitely something to celebrate. And it's exciting just to try something new, right? Despite the fact that I just started getting used to streaming at a certain time, and I'd even gotten confident enough to give myself a permanent schedule on Twitch, but that was the old me, or that was the me that was sleep deprived or not sleeping properly. And I just think I'll do a mix of doing early streams and late streams, honestly, because why not, why the hell not? Guys, we all know why we're here. We're here to continue our reading from last time. And I believe we stopped at chapter 5. It's been a while. I was supposed to read sometime last week. I don't know why it just never happened. But yeah. Here we are, and we're gonna read today. I'm all cozy because it's evening time. I'm in my blanket. It's chilly over here, so obviously I needed something to keep me warm. And I'm glad y'all are here. And you may have noticed that I fucking finally set up channel points called trinkets because y'all are crows. Get it? Because I'm not sure if many of you know, but my mascot is a raven crow specifically. But technically, it can be any bird from the corvid family. So it could be a jackdaw, it could be a rook, it could be a raven. I'm thinking of making ravens my moderators because ravens are, actually bigger than crows. Crows are smaller than ravens. But I knew that from the very beginning I wanted chat to be crows or raven crows. So just some form of corvids, right? And I haven't even chosen my name yet, even though I do have a selection. And by my name, I mean the name of, chat, or the name of my viewers, or the name of my listeners, or however you wish to call yourselves. So all of that is still up in the air. I was planning on actually hosting a sort of during my actual debut, I was planning on going, oh, what do you guys want to be called out of these selections? Because I've already made selections. The only reason I will take an external suggestion is if the idea is better than any of the ones that I've already come up with. So, oh, kiss to you too, Senti. Mwah, my darling. But yeah, let us get to it. I don't think we should waste any time at all. It's already 8 minutes into this. That's so crazy to me. Welcome one, welcome all. We will be reading Six of Crows together today. You might notice that I have now started, I have done the channel points. Channel points are called trinkets. Even though it's a common misconception that corvids collect trinkets, specifically crows, they don't. They actually just collect food stuff. They don't really collect shiny things. They only collect shiny things to give to humans, right? If they befriend a human, or if a human is I don't know, done something nice for them, then they collect the shiny things. They look for what people hold on to, mostly shiny stuff like coins and jewelry, and then they stack it up and then they give to their favorite humans. So yeah, that's why it looks like a bunch of stuff, because I painstakingly uh I gathered each and every single bits and bubbles that I wished to add to the trinkets. If you take the image and zoom in, really zoom in, you'll see that it's a combination of buttons, beads, rings, seashells, cowrie shells, gemstones. It's just a collection of shiny stuff, I guess. Pretty things. Trinkets, so to speak. So yeah. All right, I only have so much yap space in me. So let's get to our reading corner. Woohoo! I love this space so much. I'm so proud of it. All right, guys, let me get the book. And our the word I was going to say has been lost to me. Yes, our bookmark says we finished reading chapter 5, Lurk Fooch. Thank you for the lurk, Senti. Of course, go get a meal in you. Food is very important, everyone. I've also got a bottle of water next to me, and I hope you have too, because it's important to stay hydrated, especially if you plan on yapping, or even if you don't plan on yapping. It's just important to stay hydrated. I am ready. I have lip balm my lips, and I have wait, let me set aside my keyboard so I have space to actually hold my book in my hands. Yeah, because I'm reading a physical copy. There it is. Boom, boom, pow, 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 pow. And please let me know if anything's wrong with the sound, or, you know, something like that, essentially. Because I didn't want anything to be wrong with the sound. And also, if my mic keeps doing the plosives, like the pop, pop, poop, pout, let me know as well, because that's annoying, and I don't want it. I don't want you to have to experience that. All right, without further ado, we will start with chapter 6, titled Nina. So for a little recap, we met Nina last time. Nina is in fact a Grisha who works in what do you call it? A brothel. A brothel? Yes. So she's a Grisha who works in a brothel, and Kaz is coming over to her. Kaz Brecker, the leader of the gang called the Dregs, who works for Haskell. Kaz has come to ask her to join his team. So a little bit going further on the recap, Kaz was kidnapped actually right after the what's it called? The so-called parley he was supposed to have with the leader of the rival gang, the Black Tips. What was his name? Gills, I believe. Yes. So it turns out that Big Bolliger, one of the lieutenants that Kaz had chosen to go with him along with Jasper, was a traitor. That's right. He was double timing them. He was actually working the dark cartoon. I'm here. Hi, welcome, darling. I'm just doing a little bit of recap for the 5 previous chapters that we read last time. So yes, Kaz Brecker, leader of the Dregs, met up last time with the leader of a rival gang called the Black Tips. They were supposed to essentially hash things out and come to some sort of resolution, but it turns out that Big Bolliger had been trading insider secrets to the Black Tips, and Kaz Brecker knew all along because he has big brain. And yeah, so he pretty much thought ahead and bribed the guards that were on duty. Both had bribed the guards on duty. Gills had bribed them with money, while Kaz had bribed them with information. That's right, he had dirt on them, or at least on one of them, and he made sure he knew it too. So it turns out that they were actually sounds like a recap of Raptor Red with the Black Tips. I've never heard of Raptor Red. I'm just going to have to take your word for it. Cartoon. Or toon, rather, should I call you? Thank you for being here, by the way. But anyways, yes. So essentially, Kaz essentially, you know, he got shit done. He made sure people knew that he was the boss. And Gills ended up kowtowing and promising to relinquish, you know, the shipment of Jorda, which is apparently a drug that they'd stolen from him, from his port. from the area that he's in charge of, basically. And also, right after that, he went on a walk, right? And he got kidnapped by some dude. I've forgotten his name. But he got kidnapped by a person called... I'm just gonna look at it. He had a really annoying name. I just remember that. His name was, he was some sort of fucking Henrik de Capel? De Capel? No, not the... Van Eyck! Yeah, that was his name. He was kidnapped by Van Eyck, and essentially they told him that they needed to kidnap someone from the cold, fuck, I keep forgetting. From the Cold Palace? No, that's not it. The Ice Court. Yeah, it's a prison. So someone is being kept there, right? Because this person has possession or knowledge of a substance called something Yurda that can essentially like really maximize Agrisha's powers, pretty much, right? So much so that they're capable of inhuman feats like mind control or changing lead to gold and stuff like that, which is bad, apparently. So, yes, we're going to continue from there. Raptor Red is a book. Oh, a book about a Utahraptor. It's super unique. Did you mean to say book? Do you mean book? Tune. That sounds interesting, though. I would love to see what that is about. It's a... Okay, yeah. So, it is a book about a Utahraptor. Oh, books. They really take you everywhere. Alright, so let's bring it up on the screen because I just realized that it's not even fucking there. So, boom. No, not this one. That's the Ketterdam map. So let me know if you ever want to, like, look at it or something. But that's the map of the area where our book is taking place. There. This is what we needed. That's right. So, I'm on page 88, chapter 6. Dinosaurs and my hyperfixation. That sounds like you. Somehow I'm not surprised to hear that tune. Alright, so this is the Six of Crows PDF. Let's bring it over here. Let's go up front. So you guys page what? I'm not sure. Let's interact with it. Huh? Wait 1 second. It's giving me issues. Oh no, it's a local file. Browse. What the fuck? Huh? What is happening? Oh, wait a second. Wait a fucking second. Wait a fucking second, y'all. Problems. Allow me to fix this. There's always some sort of scuff. Doesn't matter how much you prepare or what you do beforehand. There's just always some scuff. All right, let me fix this. Give me 1 second, y'all. So it's so then what the what is this? No, my alerts. I see. It seems I was the one who fucked up. Wait. Alright then. I have to quickly go to here. And then come here. And then come here. And then go there. And then copy the source. And then come back here. And then come here. And then put that there. Right? Control V. It's not a local file. There, I fixed it. Sorry about that. All right, let's get to it. So you guys, so we're in page chapter 6. Let's scroll. If dinosaurs are your hyperfixation, I can't even tell what my hyperfixation is truly, because it's like what could possibly I guess it would be books. I guess it would be VTubing, to be honest. My latest and most powerful hyperfixation yet. Before that, I think it was Oh yeah, remember Inet? She's like Kaz's right-hand man, I suppose right-hand woman in this case. She's called the Wraith because she's just so good at stealth missions and stuff. And she was very instrumental in chapter 3 and 4 when Kaz was essentially fucking shit up. She came in clutch right at the last minute. Okay, this is where we are. We continue right after Kaz meets Nina. I shall take a sip of water. And then we shall begin. Alright. The sick feeling in Nina's stomach had nothing to do with the rocking of the rowboat. She tried to breathe deeply, to focus on the lights of the Ketterdam harbor, disappearing behind them and the steady splash of the oars in the water. Beside her, Kaz adjusted his mask and cloak, while Muzin rowed with relentless and aggressive speed, driving them closer to Terengel, one of Kerch's tiny outlying islands, closer to Hellgate and Matthias. Fog lay low over the water, damp and curling. It carried the smell of tar and machinery from the shipyards on Imperium, and something else, the sweet stink of burning bodies from the Reaper's barge, where Ketterdam disposed of the dead who couldn't afford to be buried in the cemeteries outside the city. Disgusting, Nina thought, drawing her cloak tighter around her. Why anyone would want to live in a city like this was beyond her. Muzin hummed happily as he rode. Nina knew him only in passing, a bouncer and an enforcer like the ill-fated Big Bolliger. She avoided the Slat and the Crow Club as much as possible. Kaz had branded her a snob for it, but she didn't much care what Kaz Brecker had to say about her tastes. She glanced back at Muzin's huge shoulders. She wondered if Kaz had just brought him along to row or because he expected trouble tonight. So I'm guessing Muzin must be quite heavy on the muscles if she thinks he's, sort of like a bouncer or something. Let's scroll down. There. Oops. Alright. Of course there will be trouble. I scrolled down too far. Of course there will be trouble. They were breaking into a prison. Oh, they've already started? They've already started breaking into the Ice Court? It's only chapter 6? I thought you guys should, I don't know, you should prepare more. I mean, it looks like, the Ice Court seems to be very, very, very heavily guarded. I'm not sure if you should just immediately jump into, well, let's keep going. I'm sure something's about to happen. Of course there will be trouble. They were breaking into a prison. It wasn't going to be a party. So why are we dressed for one? She'd met Kaz and Muzin at Fifth Harbor at midnight, and when she'd boarded the little rowboat, Kaz had handed her a blue silk cape and a matching veil, the trappings of the lost bride, one of the costumes pleasure seekers liked to don when they sampled the excesses of the barrow. He'd had on a big orange cape with a madman's mask perched atop his head. Muzin had worn the same. All they needed was a stage, and they could perform one of those dark, savage little scenes from the comedy brute that the Kerch seemed to find so hilarious. Now Kaz gave her a nudge. Lower your veil. He pulled down his own mask. The long nose and bulging eyes looked doubly monstrous in the fog. She was about to give in and ask why the costumes were necessary when she realized that they weren't alone. Through the shifting mists, she caught sight of other boats moving through the water, carrying the shapes of other madmen, other brides, a Mr. Crimson, a Scarab Queen. What business did these people have at Hellgate? I just crashed up in here. Welcome, Trickster! We're reading. By the way, guys, it's more than okay to interrupt, to ask questions, to offer your thoughts, and so on and so forth. This is technically a book club rather than like a reading. I don't know how else to make it interactive, to be honest with you. This is just an excuse for me to read the books that I've been putting off reading on stream. But still, let us continue. All right. Yes. What business did these people have at Hellgate? Kaz had refused to tell her the specifics of his plan, and when she'd insisted, he'd simply said, "Get in the boat." That was Kaz all over. He knew he didn't have to tell her anything because the Leo of Matthias's freedom had already overridden every bit of her good sense. By the way, that's how Kaz got her to join the team. She wants someone called Matthias free. Oh. Okay, I guess they're not breaking the person from the ice court quite yet. They're breaking out Matthias, which is someone Nina knows and has always wanted to be broken out of jail, right? I guess he's her friend or something else that's close to her. And now they're finally going to break him out so that Nina can join the team for the actual heist that they're going to be doing soon, which is to break someone out of the Ice Court, one of the most heavily guarded prisons in Ketterdam. Elias, welcome! Oh my god, I'm so happy to see you here. Thank you for the first time chat. Hi. Hello. Reading stuff you've put up by streaming it, that's an immaculate mood. I know. Thank you. I always knew I wanted to do literature adjacent stuff on stream, but I've had this book sitting on my bedside for weeks. Okay, for months. And I just figured, listen, if I should just read it on stream, okay? That will make sure I read it. So this is just me trying to do what I'm supposed to do. But I'm so glad you're here. Thank you. Thank you for the first time chat. Hi. I haven't actually dropped a follow. I love your energy so much. Oh, thanks for the follow. Thank you for the follow, Elias. And thank you. That makes me feel very warm inside. I'm glad. In that case, let us continue. So it seems as if Kaz Brecker is going to break out Nina's friend from prison because that's her condition to joining him for the heist. You know, the one that's the book is all about. So let's keep reading. All right. Where were we? Where did we stop? Ah, yes. That was Kaz all over. He knew he didn't have to tell her anything because the Leo of Matthias's freedom had already overridden every bit of her good sense. She'd been trying to talk Kaz into breaking Matthias out of jail for the better part of a year. Now he could offer Matthias more than freedom, but the price would be far higher than she had expected. Oh yes, it will. Baby, you're about to go on a heist, the likes of Ocean 11. Only a few lights... Oh, are we good? Yes, only a few lights were visible as they approached the rocky shoal of Terangel. The rest was darkness and crashing waves. Couldn't you just bribe the warden? She muttered to Kaz. Let's scroll down a little bit. Alright then. Couldn't you just bribe the warden? She muttered to Kaz. I don't need him knowing he has something I want, he replied. When the boat's hull scraped sand, two men rushed forward to haul them further into land. The other boats she'd seen were making ground in the same cove, being pulled ashore by more grunting and cursing men. Their features were vague through the gauze of her veil, but Nina glimpsed the tattoos on their forearms. A feral cat curled into a crown, the symbol of the Dime Lions. Now that's a name we haven't heard before. Are they a gang? The likes of the Dregs? We'll see. Let's keep reading. Money, one of them said as they clambered out of the boat. Kaz handed over a stack of Kruge, and once it was counted, the Dime Lion waved them on. They followed a row of torches up an uneven path to the leeward side of the prison. Nina tilted her head back to gaze at the high black towers of the fortress known as Hellgate, a dark fist of stone thrusting up from the sea. Now there's an interesting sentence. She'd seen it from afar before, when she paid a fisherman to take her out to the island. But when she'd asked him to bring her closer, he'd refused. Sharks get mean there, he'd claimed. Bellies full of convict blood. Nina shuddered at the memory. A door had been propped open, and another member of the Dime Lions led Nina and the others inside. They entered a dark, surprisingly clean kitchen, its walls lined with huge vats that looked better suited to laundry than cooking. The room smelled strange, like vinegar and sage. Like a mercer's kitchen, Nina thought. The Kirch believed that work was akin to prayer. Maybe the merchant wives came here to scrub the floors and walls and windows to honor Gezan, the god of industry and commerce. with soap and water in the chafing of their hands. Nina resisted the urge to gag. They could scrub all they liked. Beneath that wholesome scent was the indelible stench of mildew, urine, and unwashed bodies. It might take an actual miracle to dislodge it. They passed through a dank entry hall, and she thought they would head up into the cells. But instead, they passed through another door and onto a high stone walkway that connected the main prison to what looked like another tower. "Where are we going?" Nina whispered. "Oh, where are we going?" Nina whispered. Kaz didn't answer. The wind picked up, lifting her veil and lashing her cheeks with salt spray. We already knew that Kaz Brecker was a man of very few words, but I would personally be very, very upset if you were dragging me into a situation and you didn't tell me any fucking details about it. Like, how am I supposed to be of help if you keep keeping all these fucking details to yourself, mate? Not just that, but it reminds me of another character, Albus Dumbledore. Now, listen, I used to be a fan of Albus fucking Wulfric Brian or other names Dumbledore. I used to like him, especially when I was a kid. But as I grew older and I drowned myself in fan fiction, I realized that not only is he a very flawed character, but he's actually a kind of a piece of shit. Because not only are you putting the entire fate of the wizarding world on some 17-year-old's shoulders, and not just 17-year-old, but 11 at the time that you met him for the first time, despite the fact that you're his fucking magical guardian. Let's not even talk about that. But you also don't tell him anything. Like, you barely tell him anything at all. Why would you do that? He's a kid. And then you tell him, "Oh yeah, I'm going to just die, by the way, but the rest of the fate of everybody you love depends on you. Good luck taking down the megalomaniac who wishes to kill you and everything that you've ever loved and actually did kill your parents." I just feel like he could have afforded to tell him more information. And Kaz, despite the fact that he's proven himself in previous chapters, pardon me while I adjust myself, by the way, he seems to be a man of little words who just refuses to explain things to anybody, you know? Because Ine has to suffer that before, but that's your piece of shit. Absolutely not. I do not claim him, trickster. I do not claim any of them. I simply don't. If you're going to put people in like a very dangerous situation, right? Then the least you could do is tell them what the fuck is going on. I feel like it's just courtesy at that point. So, you know, yeah. Anyways, let's continue. Also, why is it my alerts? They're acting strange. At this point, I don't even know anymore. I do all I can, and these things still fuck me over. Okay, well, it didn't work. Anyways, let's keep going. Should I scroll down? I should. You guys are in charge of telling me when I should scroll down, by the way, because sometimes I forget. Let's go. Okay. Boom, 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 boom. Okay. Where are we going? Nina whispered. Kaz didn't answer. The wind picked up, lifting her veil and lashing her cheeks with salt spray. As they entered the second tower, a figure emerged from the shadows, and Nina barely stifled a scream. Stifled or stifled? I guess it depends on where the fuck you grew up. Doesn't really matter to me anyways. Nina stifled a scream. Oh, it's Ine! The Wraith. See, that's her special power. She just goes, she's mastered the art of being so impossibly still that she's practically impossible. There. That's a reference. Anyways, Ine, she said on a wavering breath. The Suli girl wore the horns and high-necked tunic of the Grey Imp. By the way, these are all characters from a play called The Comedy Brute. Anyways, let's keep going. Ine, she said on a wavering breath. The Suli girl wore the horns and high-necked tunic of the Grey Imp, but Nina recognized her anyway. No one else moved like that, as if the world was smoke and she was just passing through it. How did you even get here? Nina whispered to her. I came earlier on a supply barge. Nina ground her teeth. Do people just come and go from Hellgate for fun? Once a week they do, said Ina, her little imp horns bobbing along with her head. What do you mean, once a? Keep quiet, Kaz growled. Don't shush me, Brekka, Nina whispered furiously. If it's this easy to get into Hellgate, the problem isn't getting in, it's getting out. Now shut up and stay alert. Nina swallowed her anger. She had to trust Kaz to run the game. He'd made sure she didn't have any other choice. They entered a tight passageway. This tower felt different from the first. Older, its rough-hewn stone walls blackened by smoking torches. Their dime lion guide pushed open. Here we go again. Alright. Their dime lion guide pushed open a heavy iron door and gestured for them to follow him down a steep staircase. Here the smell of bodies and refuse was worse, trapped by the sweating moisture of salt water. Ugh, that sounds disgusting. But anyways, they spiraled lower into the bowels of the rock. Nina clung to the wall. There was no banister, and though she could not see the bottom, she doubted the fall would be kind. They didn't go far, but by the time they reached their destination, she was trembling. Her muscles wound taut. Less from exertion. Okay, I'm gonna start again. They didn't go far, but by the time they reached their destination, she was trembling. Her muscles wound taut, less from exertion than the knowledge that Matthias was somewhere in this terrible place. He's here. He's under this roof, she thought. So it gives me vibes of Azkaban, but not nearly as bad considering the lack of Dementors. But you don't need Dementors to make a place devoid of life and full of misery and suffering. So, let's keep reading. Where are we? She whispered as they ducked through cramped stone tunnels, passing dark caves fitted with iron bars. This is the old prison, Kaz said. When they built the new tower, they left this one standing. She heard moaning from inside one of the cells. They still keep prisoners here? Only the worst of them. She peered between the bars of an empty cell. There were shackles on the wall, dark with rust and what might have been blood. Oh, and here we go again. Alright, let's keep going. Through the walls, a sound reached Nina's ears, a steady pounding. She thought it was the ocean at first, but then she realized it was chanting. They emerged into a curving tunnel. To her right were more old cells. Wait 1 second. To her right were more old cells. But light poured into the tunnel from staggered archways on the left, and through them she glimpsed a roaring, rowdy crowd. The dime lion led them around the tunnel to the third archway, where a prison guard dressed in a blue and grey uniform was posted, rifle slung across his back, pardon me. 4 more for you, the dime lion shouted over the crowd. Then he turned to Kaz. If you need to leave, the guard will call for an escort. No one goes wandering off without a guide, understood? Of course, wouldn't dream of it, Kaz said from behind his ridiculous mask. Enjoy, the dime lion said with an ugly grin. The prison guard waved them through. Nina stepped under the arch and felt as if she'd fallen into some strange nightmare. They were on a jutting stone ledge, looking down into a shallow, crudely made amphitheater. The tower had been gutted to create an arena. Only the black walls of the old prison remained, the roof long since fallen in or destroyed so that the night sky was visible high above, dense with clouds and free of stars. It was like standing in the hollowed-out trunk of a massive tree, something long dead and howling with echoes. Around her, masked and veiled men and women crowded onto the terraced ledges, stamping their feet as the action proceeded below. Could it be a fucking Colosseum? Where they force people to fight to the death? Where they force the prisoners to fight to the death? For entertainment? Because I would not be surprised if that was the case, actually. Let's keep going. Let's scroll down. In the meantime. Alright then. Oh, we've got quite far, actually. Alright then. Alright, around her, yeah, I've already read that. The wall surrounding the fighting pit blazed with torchlights, and the sand of the arena floor was red and damp where it had soaked up blood. In front of the dark mouth of the cave, a scrawny, bearded man in shackles stood next to a big wooden wheel marked with what looked like drawings of little animals. He'd clearly once been strong, but now his skin hung in loose folds and his muscles sagged. A younger man stood beside him in a mangy cape made from a lion's skin, his face framed by the big cat's mouth. A garish gold crown had been secured between the lion's ears, and its eyes had been replaced with bright silver dimes. "Spin the wheel," the young man commanded. The prisoner lifted his shackled hands and gave the wheel a hard spin. A red needle ticked along the edges as it spun, making a cheerful clattering noise. Then slowly the wheel came to a stop. Nina couldn't quite make out the symbol, but the crowd bellowed, and the man's shoulders drooped as the card came forward to unlock his chains. Oh no, I can see where this is going. It seems to be some inhumane form of entertainment. Of course, no prison system is perfect, but I'm really tired of all of them being borderline. I don't know how to describe it. Let's keep going. The prisoner cast them aside into the sand, and a second later Nina heard it. A roar that carried even over the excited baying of the crowd. A real lion? A real lion? For this poor, underfed man? Who probably needs, like, physical therapy to learn how to run properly again? What the hell? Okay. The man in the lion cape and the prison guard stepped hurriedly into a rope ladder and were lifted out of the pit to the safety of a ledge as the prisoner... Oh, fuck. I'm too excited. I'm reading badly. Okay. The man in the lion cape and the prison guard stepped hurriedly onto a rope ladder and were lifted out of the pit to the safety of a ledge as the prisoner seized a flimsy-looking knife from a bloody bunch of weapons lying in the sand. That doesn't seem like it will be of much help. What's a knife against the beast? Okay, he backed as far away from the mouth of the tunnel as he could get. Oh no, this is awful. Nina had never seen a creature like the one that crawled into view from the tunnel. It's not even a lion, it's a fucking creature. Okay, it was some kind of reptile. Its thick body covered in grey-green scales, its head wide and flat, its yellow eyes slitted. It moved slowly, sinuously, its low, slung body sliding lazily over the ground. Oh, it's a giant, big, great snake. Like a basilisk. There was a white crust around the broad crescent of its mouth, and when it opened its jaws to roar again, something wet, white, and foaming dripped from its pointed teeth. What is that thing? Nina asked. Okay, let's scroll. Okay. What is that thing? Nina asked. Brinka Moten, said Ine. A desert lizard. The poison from its mouth is lethal. It seems pretty slow on its feet. Yes, it seems that way. Ooh. The prisoner lunged forward with his knife. The big lizard moved so quickly Nina could barely track it. One moment, the prisoner was bearing down on it. The next, the lizard was on the other side of the arena. Bare seconds later, it had slammed into the prisoner, pinning him to the ground as he screamed, its poison dripping over his face, leaving smoky trails wherever it touched his skin. Holy shit. The creature dropped its weight on the prisoner with a sickening crunch and set about slowly mauling his shoulder as he lay there shrieking. The crowd was booing. Nina averted her eyes, unable to watch. What is this? Welcome to the Hell Show, said Kaz. Pekka Rollins got the idea a few years back and pitched it to the right council member. The Merchant Council knows? Of course they know, Nina. There's money to be made here. Nina dug her fingernails into her palms. That condescending tone made Kaz so slappable. She knew Pekka Rollins' name well. He was the reigning king of the Barrel, the owner of not one, but 2 gambling palaces. One looked serious, the other catering to sailors with less to line their pockets, and several of the higher-end brothels. When Nina had arrived in Ketterdam a year ago, she'd been friendless, penniless, and far from home. She'd spent the first week in the Kirch law courts, dealing with the charges against Matthias. But once her testimony was complete, she'd been unceremoniously dumped at First Harbor with just enough money to book passage back to Ravka. Desperate as she'd been to return to her country, she'd known she couldn't leave Matthias to languish in Hellgate. She had no idea what to do, but it seemed rumors of a new Grisha Kopernik in Ketterdam had already circulated through the city. Pekka Rollins' men had been waiting for her at the harbor with the promise of safety and a place to stay. They'd taken her to the Emerald Palace. Where Emerald Palace is a brothel, by the way. Where Pekka himself had leaned heavily on Nina to join the Dime Lions and had offered to set her up in business at the sweet shop. She'd been close to saying yes, desperate for cash and terrified of the slavers who patrolled the streets. But that night, Ina had crawled through her window on the top floor of the Emerald Palace with a proposal from Kaz Brecker in hand. Nina never could... Oh, guys. Okay. Alright. Nina never could figure out how Ina had managed to scale 6 rain-slick stories of stone in the middle of the night. But the Dreg's terms were far more favorable than those offered by Pekka and the Dime Lions. It was a contract that she might actually pay off in a year or two if she was smart with her money. And Kaz had sent the right person to argue his case. A Suli girl just a few months younger than Nina, who had grown up in Ravka and who had spent a very ugly year indentured at the menagerie. Another Berthel. "What can you tell me about Per Haskell?" Nina had asked that night. "Not much," Ina had admitted. "He's no better or worse than most of the bosses in the barrel. And Kaz Brecker? A liar, a thief, and utterly without conscience. But he'll keep to any deal you strike with him." Nina had heard the conviction in her voice. "He freed you from the menagerie?" she asked. "There is no freedom in the barrel. Only good terms. Tante Helene's girls never earn out of their contracts. She makes sure that they... Oh, wait. So Tante Helene is the madame of the brothel, the menagerie, where Ina used to be before Kaz took her under his wing, so to speak. And it turns out that she's a very, very unkind madame. To put it very, very lightly, that's the understatement of the fucking century. But she apparently makes sure that her girls never, ever, ever make enough money to leave the business, which is awful. I'm so obsessed with getting this right, but it's not letting me do what I want with it. Oh, whatever. Let us keep reading. There is no freedom in the barrel, only good terms. Tante Helene's girls never earn out of their contracts. She makes sure they don't. Ina had broken off then, and Nina had sensed the vibrant anger coursing through her. Kaz convinced Per Haskell to pay off my indenture. I would have died at the menagerie. You may still die in the dregs. Inez's dark eyes had glinted. I may, but I'll die on my feet with a knife in my hand. And with respect, too, because she's made a name for herself as the Wraith. Okay, let's keep going. The next morning, Ina had helped Nina sneak out of the Emerald Palace. They'd met with Kaz Brecker, and despite his cold ways and those strange leather gloves, she'd agreed to join the Dregs and work out of the White Rose. Less than 2 days later, a girl died at the sweet shop, strangled in her bed by a customer dressed as Mr. Crimson, who was never found. That's awful. Nina had trusted Ina, and she hadn't been sorry for it. Though right now she felt just furious with everyone. She watched a group of Dime Lions prod the desert lizard with long spears. Apparently, the monster was sated after its meal. Oh, he ate the prisoner. It allowed itself to be herded back to the tunnel, its thick body moving side to side in a lazy, sinuous roll. Okay, let's scroll down over here. Okay. The crowd continued to boo as guards entered the arena to remove the prisoner's remains, tendrils of smoke still curling from his ruined flesh. Why are they complaining? Nina asked angrily. Isn't this what they came here for? They wanted a fight, said Kaz. They were expecting him to last longer. This is disgusting. Kaz shrugged. Only disgusting thing about it is that I didn't think of it first. These men aren't slaves, Kaz. They're prisoners. They're murderers and rapists, and thieves and con artists. Your people. Nina, sweet, they aren't forced to fight. They line up for the chance. They earn better food, private cells, liquor, jurda, conjugals with girls from West Stave. Ugh. Musin cracked his knuckles. Sounds better than we got in at the slap. Nina looked at the people screaming and shouting. The barkers walking the aisles taking bets. The prisoners of Hellgate might line up to fight, but Pekka Rollins made the real money. Helva doesn't fight in the arena, does he? We aren't here for the ambience, Kaz said. Beyond slappable. Are you aware that I could waggle my fingers and make you wet your trousers? Easy, Heartrender. I like these trousers. And if you start messing with my vital organs, Matthias Helva will never see sunshine again. Oh, so Helva is the surname of Matthias. I was wondering. I was confused a little bit. Nina blew out a breath and settled for glowering at no one. Let's scroll. Glowering at no one. Nina, Inem murmured, don't you start on me. It will all work out. Let Kaz do what he does best. He's horrible, but effective. Being angry at Kaz for being ruthless is like being angry at a stove for being hot. You know what he is. Nina crossed her arms. I'm mad at you too. Me? Why? I don't know yet. I just am. Ina gave Nina... I like their banter. They seem to have a nice relationship, which is good, considering everything. But let's keep going. Ina gave Nina's hand a brief squeeze, and after a moment, Nina squeezed back. She sat through the next fight in a daze, and the next. She told herself she was ready for this. To see him again. To see him here in this brutal place. After all, she was a Grisha and a soldier of the Second Army. She'd seen worse. But when Matthias emerged from the mouth of the cave below, she knew she'd been wrong. Nina recognized him instantly. Okay, I'm gonna drink some water. Okay, let's keep going. Nina recognized him instantly. Ooh. I feel bad for her a little bit. Every night of the past year, she had fallen asleep thinking of Matthias's face. I wonder who he is to her. I mean, she traveled all the way from Ravka just for him to make sure that she gave her testimony at his trial. And she stayed in the city because of him as well, even though she had enough money to, you know, get to travel back home, but she didn't. So I'm guessing he's someone really important, maybe a relative or a lover or a very good friend. We'll see. Every night of the past year, she had fallen asleep thinking of Matthias's face. But there was no mistaking the gilded brows. There was no mistaking the gilded brows, the sharp cut of his cheekbones. But Kaz hadn't lied. Matthias was much changed. The boy who looked back at the crowd with fury in his eyes was a stranger. Nina remembered the first time she'd seen Matthias in the moonlit Kalish wood. His beauty had seemed unfair to her. In another life, she might have believed he was coming to rescue her. A shining savior with golden hair and eyes the pale blue of northern glaciers. I read that too fast. A shining savior with golden hair and eyes the pale blue of northern glaciers. But she'd known the truth of him by the language he spoke, and by the disgust on his face every time his eyes lighted on her. Matthias Helva was a Druskel, one of the Théoden witch hunters tasked with hunting down Grisha to face trial and execution, though to her, he'd always resembled a warrior saint, illuminated in gold. Now he looked like what he truly was, a killer. His bare torso seemed hewn from steel, and though she knew it wasn't possible, he seemed bigger, as if the very structure of his body had changed. His skin had been gilded honey, now it was fish belly white beneath the grime. And his hair, he'd had such beautiful hair, thick and golden, worn long in the way of Fjerden shoulders. I don't know if I'm saying that word right. Is it Fjerden? Is it Jerden? Is the F silent? I don't know. Let's see. I'm sure if you know, just let me know in the in chat. I'm not sure. Now, like the other prisoners, his head had been shaved, probably to prevent lice. Whichever guard had done it had made a mess of the job. Even from this distance, she could see the cuts and nicks on his scalp, and little strips of blonde stubble in the places the razor had missed. And yet, he was beautiful still. He glared at the crowd and gave the wheel a hard spin that nearly knocked it off its base. Tick, 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 tick. Snakes, tiger, bear, bow. Well, I didn't say that right. Snakes, tiger, bear, boar. The wheel ticked merrily along, then slowed and finally stopped. No, Nina said when she saw where the needle was pointing. It could be worse, said Musin. Could have landed on the desert lizard again. She grabbed Kaz's arm through his cloak and felt his muscles tense. You have to stop this. Let go of me, Nina. His gravel-rough voice was low, but she sensed real menace in it. Oh yeah, that's right, he doesn't like to be touched. She dropped her hand. Please, you don't understand. Nina, I have a feeling he'll be fine. If he has lasted this long, he can probably hold his own. She dropped her hand. Please, you don't understand. If he survives, I'll take Matthias Helver out of this place tonight. But this part is up to him. Nina gave a frustrated shake of her head. By the way. Nina gave a frustrated shake of her head. You don't get it. The guard unbolted Matthias's shackles, and as soon as the chains dropped into the sand, he leaped onto the ladder with the announcer to be lifted to safety. The crowd screamed and stamped, but Matthias stood silent, unmoving, even when the gate opened, even when the wolves charged out of the tunnel, 3 of them snarling and snapping, tumbling over one another to get to him. Wolves? 3 wolves? And he's supposed to like survive? And I bet you they're not feeding him any extra. They're not letting them get exercise or anything, but somehow he's supposed to survive this fucking encounter. Oh well, let's keep going. Nina, Ine, oh wait, I don't know where I was. Okay, yeah. The crowd screamed and stamped, but Matthias stood silent, unmoving, even when the gate opened, even when the wolves charged out of the tunnel, 3 of them snarling and snapping, tumbling over one another to get to him. At the last second, Matthias dropped into a crouch, knocking the first wolf into the dirt, then writhing right to pick up the bloody knife the previous combatant had left in the sand. He sprang to his feet, blade held out before him, but Nina could sense his reluctance. His head was cocked to one side, and the look in his blue eyes was pleading, as if he was trying to engage the 2 wolves circling him in some silent negotiation. Ooh, does he like animals? Maybe he doesn't want to hurt them. Okay. Whatever the plea might have been, it went unheard. The wolf on the right lunged. Matthias crouched low and spun, lodging his knife in the wolf's belly. Wait. Wow. It gave a miserable yelp, and Matthias seemed to shudder at the sound. Oh yeah, he doesn't like this. So he can hunt Grisha, but he can't hurt dogs, eh? Interesting. Priorities, I suppose. Alright, let's keep going. The third... Oh, wait. It gave a miserable yelp, and Matthias seemed to shudder at the sound. It cost him precious seconds. The third wolf was on him, knocking him to the sand. Its teeth sank into his shoulder. He rolled, taking the wolf with him. The wolf's jaws snapped, and Matthias caught them. He wrenched them apart, the muscles of his arms flexing. his face grim. Nina squeezed her eyes shut. There was a sickening crack. The crowd roared. Matthias kneeled over the wolf. Its jaw was broken and it lay on the ground, twitching in pain. He reached for a rock and slammed it hard onto the poor animal's skull. It went still, and Matthias's shoulders slumped. Aw. Yeah, nobody likes this. And Matthias's shoulders shrunk. Ooh. Slumped, sorry, not shrunk. The people howled, stomping their feet. Only Nina knew what this was costing him, that he'd been a Druskel. Wolves were sacred to his kind, bred for battle like their enormous horses. They were friends and companions, fighting side by side with their Druskel masters. The first wolf had recovered and was circling. Move, Matthias, she thought desperately. He got to his feet, but his movements were slow, wary. His heart wasn't in this fight. His opponents were grey wolves, rangy and wild, but cousins to the white wolves of the Fjerden North. Matthias had no knife, only the bloody rock in his hand, and the remaining wolf prowled the arena, between him and the pile of weapons. The wolf lowered its head and bared its teeth. Matthias dove left. The wolf lunged, sinking its teeth into his side. He grunted and hit the ground hard. For a moment, Nina thought he might simply give in and let the wolf take his life. Then he reached out, hands scrabbling through the sand, searching for something. His fingers closed over the shackles that had bound his wrists. He seized them, looped the chain across the wolf's throat, and pulled, the veins in his neck cording from the strain. His bloody face was pressed against the wolf's ruff. His eyes tightly shut, his lips moving. Oh, I see. His lips moving. What was he saying? A Druskel prayer? A farewell? The wolf's hind legs scrabbled at the sand. Its eyes rolled, frightened whites showing bright against its matted fur. Isn't there one more wolf? There were 3. He's killed 1. But there's 2 more. Is the last wolf just watching? Just chilling, waiting for its turn? I'm just wondering. I'm gonna move myself a little to the side. There, it's better. Right? Yeah, I like that. Alright, let's keep going. Choo. A Druskel prayer? A farewell? The wolf's hind legs scrabbled at the sand. Its eyes rolled, frightened whites showing bright against its matted fur. A high whine rose from its chest, and then it was over. The creature's body stilled. Both fighters lay unmoving in the sand. Matthias kept his eyes closed, his face still buried in the creature's fur. Aww. The crowd thundered its approval. The ladder was lowered, and the announcer sprang down, hauling Matthias to his feet and grabbing his wrists to raise his hand in victory. Wait, I don't get it. Isn't there one more wolf? Wait. Oh no, he killed one. He stabbed it in the stomach, right? And then afterwards, he killed the second one with a rock to the head. And then finally, with this last one, he strangled it with the chains. Okay, I got it. The crowd thundered its approval. The ladder was lowered and the announcer sprang down, hauling Matthias to his feet and grabbing his wrist to raise his hand in victory. The announcer gave him a little nudge and Matthias lifted his head. Nina caught her breath. Tears streaked the dirt on Matthias's face. The rage was gone, and it was like some flame had gone out with it. His North Sea eyes were colder than she'd ever seen them, empty of feeling, stripped of anything human at all. This was what the Hellgate had done to him, and it was her fault. The guards took hold of Matthias again, pulling the shackles from the wolf's throat and clapping them back on his wrists. As he was led away, the crowd chanted its disapproval, clamoring, "More! More!" "Where are they taking him?" Nina asked, voice trembling. Let's scroll down. Okay. To a cell to sleep off the fight, Kaz said. Who will see to his injuries? They have medics. We'll wait to make sure he's alone. Hello. Can I get a snack? Egg sandwich. No? Too much? Why did you change like that? Sorry guys, by the way, Milu's here. Why did you change? There's no one here. Hello? I think there is one person actually. Hello. Okay. Yeah. So can I get a snack if you wouldn't mind?
I'm sorry. I'm going to make an egg sandwich. I was actually just going to make myself a jam sandwich and then just, eat the jetty.
Oh, no problem then.
Do you want a jam sandwich?
Sure. Thank you. I have 2.
Yeah, there's no much jam.
Fine, thank you. By the way, I'm so sorry, Elias, Senti, I forgot. Senti's streaming right now, but it shouldn't matter.
Streaming?
Yeah. So I will, and you could watch them on your laptop. But I'm going to shout y'all out because I forgot to do it earlier and I apologize. I keep forgetting. SO at Elias J Dodger. This is so strange to me because my keyboard is on the other side of my desk. And then I will... Yes, this should be fine. Yes, there we go. Oh, you were also writing and reading? Amazing. I wonder what you were reading. Or what you were writing. Whichever it was. And now SO at Sentient Being. Because Sentient is currently live. There we go. Go check them out. Alright, let's keep going. This will be a shorter stream, by the way, guys, because I can't really yap for long today. No problem. Thank you. I also want to go make dinner afterwards, so we'll be ending after only maybe 2 hours, 30 minutes, I'm afraid. In the meantime, food break. I'm going to be eating this lovely jam sandwich. Thank you. Delicious. I suppose I should be right back for this. So be right back. Don't go anywhere. I'm right here. I'm just eating. Okay, I'm back. Yeah. Let's keep going. Where did we stop? They have medics. We'll wait to make sure he's alone. I could heal him, she thought, but a darker voice rose in her, rich and with mocking. Not even you can be that foolish, Nina. No healer can cure that boy. You made sure of it. Ooh, lore? What fucking happened? By the way, I was just testing the redeem to see if it worked. Sorry about that. But I have hydrated, so let's keep going. We'll wait to make sure he's alone. It seems that she did something to make it so that he can't heal? Or something like that? I don't know. Let's keep reading. Alright. She thought she would leap from her skin as the minutes burned away. The others watched the next fight, Muzan avidly, flexing his fingers and speculating on the outcome. Ina silent and still as a statue. Kaz inscrutable as always, scheming away behind that hideous mask. Nina slowed her own breathing, forced her pulse lower, trying to calm herself, but she could do nothing to mute the riot in her head. Finally, Kaz gave her a nudge. Ready, Nina? The guard first. She cast a glance at the prison guard. Standing by the archway. How down? It was a barrel turner phrase. How badly do you want him hurt? Shut-eye. Knock him out, but don't actually hurt him. They followed Kaz to the arch through which they'd entered. The rest of the crowd took little notice, eyes focused on the fighting below. Need your escorts? The guard asked as they approached. I had a question, said Kaz. Beneath her cape, Nina lifted her hands, sensing the flow of blood in the guard's veins, the tissue of his lungs, about your mother and whether the rumors were true. Nina's felt the guard's pulse leap inside. Never can make it easy, can you, Kaz? The guard stepped forward, lifting his gun. What did you say? His eyelids drooped. You don't. Nina dropped his pulse, and he toppled forward. Muzan grabbed him before he could fall as Ines swept him into the cloak Kaz had been wearing just moments before. Nina was only mildly surprised to see that Kaz was wearing a prison guard's uniform beneath it. Ah, very smart, Kaz. Couldn't you have just asked him the time or something? Nina said. And where did you get that uniform? Ines slid the madman's mask down over the guard's face, and Muzan threw his arm around him, holding him up as if the guard had been drinking too much. They deposited him on one of the benches pressed against the back wall. Kaz tugged on the sleeves of his uniform. Nina, people love to give up authority to men in nice clothes. Nina, people love to give up authority to men in nice clothes. I have uniforms for the Stadwatch, the Harbor Police, and the livery of every merch mansion on the Gedstraat. Let's go. They slipped down the passageway. Alright, let's see. There. Wow, we're farther down than that. There. They slipped down the passageway. Instead of turning back the way they'd come, they moved counterclockwise around the old tower, the wall of the arena vibrating with voices and stomping feet to their left. The guards posted at each archway paid them little more than a glance, though a few nodded at Kaz, who kept a brisk pace, his face buried in his collar. Nina was so deep in thought that she nearly missed it when Kaz held up a hand for them to slow. They'd rounded a bend between two archways and were in the cover of deep shadow. Ahead of them, a medic was emerging from a cell accompanied by guards, one carrying a lantern. He'll sleep through the night, the medic said. Make sure he drinks something in the morning and check his pupils. I have to give him a powerful sleeping draught. I see. As the men moved off in the opposite direction, Kaz gestured his group forward. The door in the rock was solid iron, broken only by a narrow slot through which to pass the prisoners' meals. Kaz bent to the lock. By the way, can I just say how I love how we're giving a sort of, apart from the show in the beginning, whereby we were introduced to Kaz and the group, the dregs in general, and their strengths and their weaknesses and just how smart Kaz is. I love how we're given a preview into heists. Don't forget that in the last chapter, we realized that Kaz and Ina were actually the ones responsible for stealing Van Eyck's prized painting. right? Despite the fact that he, according to him, had employed the best security, blah blah blah. But Cass had stolen it, and he's keeping it under his bed. And now here we have a sort of mini heist to break out Nina's friend, Helva, right, out of jail, right? Which is sort of like a preview of what's going to happen when they break out the person they need to break out from the ice court. Sorry, I forgot his name, but he's some diplomat. So, anyways, some guy who has information on the special jurda, the drug that makes the Grisha's powers ridiculously powerful and potent, but kills them in the process because it's very addictive. And now that I think about it, I believe I need to go to the bathroom. So once more, apologies for them being back to back and so close together. But I will be going to the bathroom, so be right back, guys. Give me 1 second. Oogie, I'm back. Scared of forever, you know nothing else is gonna pass. Scared, you know. Okay, let's keep going. Where did we fucking stop and what's happening? Uh-huh. Oh, okay. Okay. I didn't mean to do that. Okay, let's keep going. They slipped down the passageway. No, we've read that. As the men moved off in the opposite direction, Kaz gestured his group forward. The door in the rock was solid iron, broken only by a narrow slot through which to pass the prisoners' meals. Kaz bent to the lock. Nina eyed the crude iron door. "This place is barbaric," she said. "Most of the better fighters sleep in the old tower," Kaz replied. "Keeps them away from the rest of the population." Nina glanced left and right to where the bright light spilled from the arena entryways. Oh, we scroll down. From the arena entryways. There were guards standing in those doorways, distracted maybe. But all one needed to do was turn his head. If they were caught here, would the guards bother giving them over to the Star Watch for trial, or would they simply force them into the ring to be eaten by a tiger? Maybe something less dignified, she thought bleakly. A swarm of angry voles. It took Kaz a few quick heartbeats to pick the lock. The door creaked open and they slipped inside. The cell was pitch black. A brief moment passed, and the cold green glow of a bone light flickered to life beside her. Ina held the little glass sphere aloft. The substance inside was made from the dried and crushed bodies of luminous deep-sea fishes. They were common among crooks in the barrow who didn't want to get caught in a dark alley, but couldn't be bothered to lug around lanterns. At least it's clean, Nina thought, as her eyes adjusted to the gloom. Barren and icy cold, but not filthy. She saw a pallet of horse blankets and 2 buckets placed against the wall, one with a bloody cloth peeking over the rim. This was what the men of Hellgate competed for: a private cell, a blanket, clean water, and a bucket for waste. Matthias slept with his back to the wall. Even in the dim illumination of the bone light, she could see his face was starting to swell. Some kind of ointment had been smeared over his wounds. Calendula. She recognized the smell. Nina moved towards him, but Kaz stopped her with a hand on her arm. "Let Ina assess the damage." Nina began. "I need you to work on Muzen." Ina tossed Kaz the crow-headed cane she must have been hiding beneath her grey imp costume, and kneeled over Matthias' body with the bone light. Muzen stepped forward. He removed his cloak and shirt, and the madman's mask. His head was shaved, and he wore prison-issue trousers. Nina looked at Matthias, then back to Muzen, grasping what Kaz had in mind. The 2 boys were about the same height and the same build, but that was where the similarities ended. "You can't possibly mean for Muzen to take Matthias' place." "He isn't here for his sparkling conversation," Kaz replied. "You'll need to reproduce Helva's injuries. Ina, what's the inventory?" "Bruised knuckles, chipped tooth, 2 broken ribs," Ina said. "3rd and 4th on the left." How does she know that? How does she just know that? How can she know that? She's not a Corporal Nick like Nina, so... Well, let's keep going. His left or your left? His left. "This isn't going to work," Nina said in frustration. "I can match the damage to Helva's body, but I'm not a good enough tailor to make Muzen look like him. Just trust me, Nina." "I wouldn't trust you to tie my shoes without stealing the laces, Kaz." She peered at Muzen's face. "Even if I swell him up, he'll never pass." She's essentially saying, "Muzen, you're too damn ugly." Because according to her, this Helva guy is extremely beautiful. So, let's keep going. Alright, some lip balm wouldn't be amiss right now, would it? Fuck her up. Mwah. All right. Well moisturized. Let us continue. I'm also going to adjust my seating. Much better. I'm a lot more comfortable now. All right. Oh, by the way, scroll down. I wouldn't trust you to tie my shoes without stealing the laces, Kaz. Even if I swell him up, he'll never pass. Tonight, Matthias Helver, or rather our dear Musen, is going to appear to contract firepox, the lupine strain, carried by wolves and dogs alike. Tomorrow morning, when his guards discover him so covered in pustules that he is unrecognizable, he will be quarantined for a month to see if he survives the fever. Oh, fuck. Let's start that sentence again, shall we? Tomorrow morning, when his guards discover him so covered in pustules that he is unrecognizable, he will be quarantined for a month to see if he survives the fever and to outwait the contagion. Meanwhile, Matthias will be with us. Get it? You want me to make Musen look like he has firepox? Yes, and do it quickly, Nina, because in about 10 minutes things are going to get very hectic around here. Nina stared at him. What was Kaz planning? You don't have time to think about that, girl. Do the thing. You have 10 minutes. No matter what I do to him, it wouldn't last a month. I can't give him a permanent fever. My contact in the infirmary will make sure he stays sick enough. We just need to get him through diagnosis. Now get to work. Nina looked Musen up and down. This is going to hurt just as much as if you've been in the fight yourself, she warned. He scrunched up his face, bracing for the pain. I can take it. She rolled her eyes and lifted her hands, concentrating. The sharp slice of her right hand over her left, she snapped Musen's ribs. He let out a grunt and doubled over. That's a good boy, said Kaz, taking it like a champion. Knuckles next, then face. Nina spread bruises and cuts over Musen's knuckles and arms, matching the woods to Inez's descriptions. I've never seen firefox up close, Nina said. She was only familiar with illustrations from books they'd used in their anatomy training at the Little Palace. Count yourself lucky, Kaz said grimly. Hurry it up. She worked from memory, swelling and cracking the skin on Musen's face and chest, raising blisters until the swelling and pustules were so bad that he was truly unrecognizable. The big man moaned. Why would you agree to this? Nina murmured. The swollen flesh of Musen's face quivered, and Nina thought he might be trying to smile. Money was good, he said thickly. She sighed. Why else did anyone do anything in the barrow? Good enough to get locked up in the Hellgate? Kaz tapped his cane on the cell floor. Stop making trouble, Nina. If Helva cooperates, he and Musen will both have their freedom just as soon as the job is done. Just as soon as the job is done. Yikes, English. Okay, and if he doesn't, then Helvar gets locked back in his cell and Musen still gets paid. And I'll take him to breakfast at the Cooperon. Time to squeeze. Can I have waffles? Aww! Musen is a sweetheart. His only concern is that he gets his waffles. Get this guy his waffles, man. Alright. Can I have waffles? Musen mumbles. We'll all have waffles. And whiskey. If this job doesn't come off, no one's going to want me to... If this job doesn't come off, no one's going to want to be around me sober. Finished, Nina? Nina nodded, and Nina took her place to bandage Musen to look like Matthias. All right, said Kaz. Get Helva on his feet. Nina crouched beside Matthias as Kaz stood over her with the bone knife. Even in sleep, Matthias' features were troubled, his pale brows furrowed. She let her hands travel over the bruised line of his jaw, resisting the urge to linger there. Okay, it definitely seems like it's more of the romantic variety, the interest, or rather relationship that she has with him. Because so far, that's kind of how she's, been rolling. Just kind of like, he's beautiful, it's her fault, all that sort of, that she has. Like, I don't know. Let's just keep going. I'm going to change the music. There, that's much better. Alright, let's keep going. Oh, wait. I should probably make it there. Let's keep going. Nina crouched beside and died. Blah, blah, blah. Okay, we've read that. Not the face, Nina. I need him mobile, not pretty. Heal him fast and only enough to get him walking for now. I don't want him spry enough to vex us. Nina lowered the blanket and went to work. Just another body, she told herself. She was always getting late-night calls from Kaz to heal wounded members of the Dregs, who he didn't want to bring around to any legitimate medic. Girls with stabbing punctures, boys with broken legs or bullets lodged inside them, victims of a scuffle with the Stard Watch or another gang. Pretend it's Muzin, she told herself. Or Big Bolliger or some other fool. You don't know this boy. And it was true. The boy she knew might have been the scaffold, but something new had been built upon it. She touched his shoulder gently. However, she said, he didn't stir. Matthias. Alright, let's move on. Because there. Scroll. Oh, we're almost done. Alright, there we are. A lump rose in her throat, and she felt the ache of tears threatening. She pressed a kiss to his temple. She knew that Kaz and the others were watching and that she was making an idiot of herself. But after so long, he was finally here, in front of her, and so very broken. Matthias, she repeated. Nina? His voice was raw, but as lovely as she remembered. Oh, Saint Matthias, she whispered. Please wake up. His eyes opened, groggily, palest blue. Nina, he said softly. His knuckles brushed her cheek. His rough hand cuffed her face tentatively, disbelievingly. Nina? Her eyes filled with tears. Shh, Matthias. We're here to get you out. Before she could blink, he had hold of her shoulders and had pinned her to the ground. Nina, he growled. Then his hands closed over her throat. Woo! So it seems he's not very happy to see her. Either that or he's crazy. But don't forget that he is technically, his former job was hunting Grisha, which she is. So maybe they didn't have the best of relationships before he was imprisoned. And now we're done with the end of part 1 of 6 of Crows. Woohoo! Good job, guys. Wow, good job. Wonderful, lovely. My jaw hurts. Can I just say? I really don't want to end stream too soon, so maybe we should do one more chapter and then we'll call it a day because I am a little bit tired. So let's keep going. At least we have a stream tomorrow and we'll be playing games. We'll be playing Marvel Rivals, which I'm excited for. Alright, let's scroll down. Yeah, part 2. Servant and Lever. Oh, so that's what that. Okay. Because in my book, the L is very fancy. So I couldn't tell if it was an L. I just thought it was an I with a really fancy tail. Anyways. Oh, now we're going to start reading from Matthias' perspective, which is great. Wonderful continuation. Alright, this is our final chapter, guys. And then I will either end stream or we'll do something else. Actually, no. I will end stream. My apologies. And then we'll continue tomorrow and hang out then. Because now I'm, sort of exhausted. Matthias! Matthias was dreaming again. Dreaming of her. Actually, before I continue, sip of fucking water. Earlier today, I was working on my redeems and stuff, and channel points and trying to set all that up. I made the trinkets because that's what it is. But I made I made it on Canva. I don't know if anybody can even see what it is, but it's just it's like a combination of, trinkets, pretty much. And specifically, I just want to talk about it because I'm actually very proud of it. So we'll talk about it before I continue. So it's beads, it's gemstones, there's a chest piece in there, there's sticks, there's like so much jewelry, earrings, there's coins, feathers, lots and lots and lots of feathers. There's buttons, there's more beads. There's seashells and cowrie shells. There's rings. There's pearls. There's more sticks. There's a lace something, right? It's lace. There is yeah, pretty much. Oh wow, I there's a string of pearls, and then there's individual pearls, and then there's a ring of beads, and then there's more buttons. And I'm overall just very happy with it. I also finally just did the, what do you call it? I took Twitch, not Twitch, Canva. I made my I took my free trial because a lot of the stuff that I put on it was like for was pro, and I didn't want to have to pay individually for each of them. So I just was like, you know what? It's time for a free trial. Might as well. No time like the present. And I'm very happy with it. So yes, gemstones and seashells and beads and pearls and rings and cowrie shells and feathers and sticks and coins, beads and rings. Did I say that already? And pieces of jewelry, like one. You guys probably don't care. Let's get back to the reading. All right, let's get back to it. Matthias was dreaming again, dreaming of her. In all his dreams he hunted her, sometimes through the new green meadows of spring, but usually through the ice fields, dodging boulders and crevices with unerring steps. Always he chased, and always he caught her. In the good dreams he slammed her to the ground and throttled her, watching the life drain from her eyes, heart full of vengeance. Finally, in the bad dreams he kissed her. So they have a weird toxic relationship is what I'm getting. In these dreams, she didn't fight him. She laughed as if the chase was nothing but a game, as if she'd known he would catch her, as if she'd wanted him to. There was no place she'd rather be than beneath him. Okay. Yeah, Spotify. She was welcoming and perfect in his arms. He kissed her, buried his face in the sweet hollow of her neck. Her curls brushed his cheeks, and he felt that if he could just hold her a little longer, every wound, every hurt, every bad thing would melt away. Matthias, she would whisper, his name so soft on her lips. These were the worst dreams, and when he woke, he hated himself almost as much as he hated her. To know that he could betray himself, betray his country, again, even in sleep. To know that, after everything she'd done, some sick part of him still hungered after her. It was too much. Tonight was a very bad dream. Very bad. She was wearing blue silk, clothes far more luxurious than anything he'd ever seen her in. Some kind of gauzy veil was caught up in her hair, the lamplights glinting off of it like caught rain. Gel, she smelled good. The mossy damp was still there, the perfume too. Nina loved luxury, and this was expensive. Wow. It seems there's some tension and chemistry going on between Matthias and Nina, huh? Okay. Nina loved luxury, and this was expensive. Roses and something else. Something his papa's nose didn't recognize. She pressed her soft lips to his temple, and he could swear she was crying. Bro, it's real. Wake the fuck up. It's real. She's there. She's actually there. Matthias? Nina, he managed. Oh, Saint Matthias, she whispered. Please wake up. And then he was awake, and he knew he'd gone mad because she was here in his cell, kneeling beside him, her hand resting gently on his chest. Matthias, please. The sound of her voice pleading with him. He dreamed of this. Sometimes she pleaded for mercy. Sometimes there were other things she begged for. He reached up and touched her face. She had the softest skin. He laughed at her for it once. No real soldier had skin like that, he told her. Pampered, coddled. He'd mocked the lushness of her body, ashamed of his own response to her. He cupped the warm curve of her cheek, felt the soft brush of her hair. So lovely, so real. It wasn't fair. Then he registered the bloody wrappings on his hands. Pain rushed at him as he came fully awake. Cracked ribs, aching knuckles. He'd chipped a tooth. He wasn't sure when, but he cut his tongue against it at some point. His mouth still held the coppery taste of blood. The wolves. They'd made him murder wolves. He was awake. Nina? There were tears in her beautiful green eyes. Rage coursed through him. She had no right to tears, no right to pity. Shh, Matthias, we're here to get you out. What game was this? What new cruelty? He'd just learned to survive in this monstrous place, and now she'd come to heap some fresh torture on him. He launched himself forward, flipping her to the ground, hands fastened tight around her throat, straddling her so that his knees pinned her arms to the ground. He knew damn well that Nina with her hands free was a deadly thing. Nina, he gritted out. She clawed at his hands. Witch, he hissed, leaning over her. He saw her eyes widening, her face getting redder. Beg me, he said. Beg me for your life. Okay, guy, you can't immediately go getting... immediately just, with the kink. Enough. Not yet. You're still... Wow. Not yet. Not now. You need therapy first. And maybe a shower or two. And some healing. You need a lot of therapy. He heard a click and a gravelly voice said, "Hands off her, Helver." Someone behind him had pressed a gun to his neck. Matthias didn't spare him a glance. "Go ahead and shoot me," he said. He dug his fingertips deeper into Nina's neck. Nothing would deprive him of this. Nothing. Traitor, witch, abomination. All those words came to him, but others crowded in too. Beautiful. Okay, sorry. Beautiful, charmed one. Roed Fetla. He'd called her Little Red Bird for the color of her Grisha order. The color she loved. He squeezed harder, silencing that weak-willed strain inside him. "If you've actually lost your mind, this is going to be a lot tougher than I thought," said that raspy voice. He heard a whoosh like something moving through the air, then a wrenching pain shot through his left shoulder. It felt like he'd been punched by a tiny fist. That's Ine, I bet. But his entire arm went numb. He grunted as he fell forward, one hand still clamped around Nina's throat. He would have fallen directly onto her, but he was yanked backwards by the collar of his shirt. A boy wearing a guard's uniform stood before him, dark eyes glittering, a pistol in one hand, a walking stick in the other. Its handle was carved to look like a crow's head, with a cruelly pointed beak. "Get hold of yourself, Helva. We're here to break you out. I can do to your leg what I did to your arm, and we can drag you out of here, or you can leave like a man on 2 feet. Oh, so it was Kaz who punched him, not Ine. I see. Alright, let's keep reading. We're almost done with this page. If there's like a break in the middle of it, there is a break in the middle of it. We'll stop there instead of finishing the chapter, guys. Because I really am tired. And I have to cook dinner. Alright. Get hold of yourself, Helva. We're here to break you out. I can do to your leg what I did to your arm. Oh, shit. Guys. Okay. Pardon me. I keep forgetting. Or you can leave like a man on 2 feet. No one gets out of Hellgate, Matthias said. Tonight they do. Matthias sat forward, trying to get his bearings, clutching his dead arm. You can't just walk me out of here. The guards will recognize me, he snarled. I'm not losing fighting privileges to be carted off Gel knows where with you. You'll be maxed. If the guards check, they're going to be too busy to check, said the strange pale boy. And then the screaming started. Matthias's head jerked up. Alright, let's go down. Matthias's head jerked up. He heard the thunder of footsteps from the arena, cresting like a wave as people burst into the passageway outside his cell. He heard the shouts of guards and then the roaring of a great cat, the trumpet of an elephant. You opened the cages. Nina's voice was shaky with disbelief, though who knew what might be real or performance with her? He refused to look in her direction. If he did, he'd lose all sense of reality. He was barely hanging on as it was. Jesper was supposed to wait until 3 bells, said the pale boy. It is 3 bells, Kaz, replied a small girl in the corner with dark hair and deep bronze silly skin. I'm glad we're getting to see, from the perspective of someone else, just how young Kaz, Ine, and the rest of the dregs are. Because don't forget, we discovered in the first... pardon me. We discovered in the first few chapters that they were 17 years old. They're literally teenagers. They should be in high school, right? But, you know, they're where they are. Let's keep going. He heard the thunder of footsteps from the arena. Wait, no, we've read that. Jesper was supposed to wait until 3 bells, said the pale boy. It is 3 bells, Kaz, replied a small girl in the corner, with dark hair and deep bronze silly skin. A figure covered in welts and bandages was leaning against her. Since when is Jesper punctual? The boy complained with a glance at his watch. On your feet, Helva. He offered him a gloved hand. Matthias stared at it. This is a dream. The strangest dream I've ever had, but definitely a dream. Or maybe killing the wolves had finally driven him truly mad. He'd murdered family tonight. No whispered prayers for their wild souls will make it right. He looked up at the pale demon with his black gloved hands. Kaz, she called him. Would he lead Matthias out of this nightmare or just drag him into another kind of hell? Choose, Helvar. Matthias clasped the boy's hand. If this was real and not illusion, he'd escape whatever trap these creatures had set for him. He heard Nina release a long breath. Was she relieved? Exasperated? He shook his head. He would deal with her later. The little bronze girl swept a cloak around Matthias' shoulders and propped an ugly beak-nosed mask on his head. The passageway outside the cell was chaos. Costumed men and women surged past, screaming and pushing each other, trying to get away from the arena. Guards had their guns out and he could hear shots being fired. He felt dizzy, and his side ached badly. His left arm was still useless. Kaz signaled towards the far right archway, indicating that they should move against the flow of the crowd and into the arena. Matthias didn't care. He could plunge through the mob instead, force his way up that staircase and onto a boat. And then what? It didn't matter. There was no time for planning. He stepped into the throng and was instantly hauled back. Boys like you weren't meant to get ideas, Helvar, said Kaz. That staircase leads to a bottleneck. You think the guards won't check under the mask before they let you through? Matthias scowled and followed the others through the crowd, Kaz's hand at his back. If the passage had been chaos, then the arena was a special kind of madness. Matthias glimpsed hyenas leaping and bounding over the ledges. One was feeding over a body in a crimson cape. An elephant charged the wall of the stadium, sending up a cloud of dust and bellowing its frustration. He saw a white bear and one of the great jungle cats from the southern colonies crouching in the eaves, its teeth bared. He knew there were snakes in the cages as well. He could only hope that this Jesper character hadn't been foolish enough to set them free too. They plunged across the sands where Matthias had fought for privileges for the last 6 months. But as they headed towards the tunnel, the desert lizard, Jesper released the desert. Oh god, fucking Jesper, what the fuck were you thinking, mate? Why would you release the desert lizard? Okay, let's keep going. The desert lizard came pounding towards them, its mouth dripping foaming white poison, its fat tail lashing the ground. Before Matthias could think to move, the bronze girl had vaulted over its back, and beneath the armor of its scales, the lizard groaned and collapsed on its side. Matthias felt a pang of sadness. It was a grotesque creature, but he'd never seen a fighter survive its attack. But it was also a living thing. You've never seen a fighter survive until now, he corrected himself. The bronze girl's daggers merit watching. Period. Ina is a force to be reckoned with. He'd assumed they'd cross the arena and head back up into the stands to avoid the crowds clogging the passageway. Possibly just storm the stairs and hope to make it through. And hope to make it through the guards who must be waiting at the top. Let's scroll a bit down. Instead, Kaz led them down the tunnel past the cages. The cages were old cells that had been turned over to whatever beasts the masters of the Hell Show had got their hands on that week. Old circus animals, even diseased livestock in a pinch, creatures culled from forest and countryside. As they raced past the open doors, he glimpsed a pair of yellow eyes glaring at him from the shadows, and then he was moving on. He cursed his deadened arm and lack of weapon. He was virtually defenseless. Where is this Kaz leading us? They wended past a wild boar feeding on a guard and a spotted cat that hissed and spit at them but did not draw near. And then, through the musk of animals and the stink of their waste, he smelled the clean tang of salt water. He heard the rush of waves. Also, why was he imprisoned? I'm sure we'll figure out later on, but I wonder why he was imprisoned. You know what I'm saying? Let's keep going. He heard the rush of waves. He slipped and discovered the stones beneath his feet were damp. He was deeper in the tunnel than he'd ever been permitted to go. It must lead to the sea. Whatever Nina and her people intended, they really were taking him out of the bowels of Hellgate. In the green light from the orbs carried by Kaz and the bronze girl, he spotted a tiny boat moored up ahead. It looked like a guard was seated in it, but he raised a hand and waved them forward. "You were early, Jesper," Kaz said as he nudged Matthias towards the boat. "I was on time. For you, that's early. Next time you plan to impress me, give me some warning. The animals are out and I found you a boat. This is when a thank you should be in order." "Thank you, Jesper," said Nina. "You're very welcome, gorgeous. See, Kaz? That's how the civilized folk do." Matthias was only half listening. The fingers of his left hand had started to tingle as sensation returned. He couldn't fight all of them, not in this state, and not even when they were armed, but Kaz and the boy in the boat, Jesper, looked to be the only ones with guns. Unhook the rope, disable Jesper. This is so dumb of him. At least wait until you guys are out of the boat first. Wait until your fucking prison break and jailbreak is fully underway before you decide to break everybody's bones and run away. Dude, you're not being smart. Alright. Oh, wait. Okay. There. Let's keep going. Unhook the rope, disable Jesper. He'd have a gun in possession of the boat. And Nina can stop your heart before you've taken hold of the oars, he reminded himself. So shoot her first, put a bullet in her heart, stay long enough to watch her fall, and then be done with this place. He could do it. He knew he could. All he needed was a distraction. The bronze girl was standing just to his right. Yeah, Ina would never let that happen. The bronze girl was standing just to his right. She barely reached his shoulder. Even injured, he could knock her into the water without losing his footing or doing her any real harm. Drop the girl, free the boat, disable the shooter, kill Nina, kill Nina, kill Nina. He took a deep breath and threw his weight at the bronze girl. She stepped aside as if she'd known he was coming, languidly hooking her heel behind his ankle. Matthias let out a loud grunt as he landed hard on the stones. "Matthias," Nina said, stepping forward. He scrambled backwards, nearly landing himself in the water. If she laid hands on him again, he'd lose his mind. Nina halted, the hurt on her face unmistakable. She had no right. So I'm thinking Nina has something to do with the reason why he's here. because she also feels some guilt towards why he's here. So there's a story there. We know that for sure, apart from their history, because it seems that they both served as soldiers in the army back at Ravka. Anyways, clumsy this one, the bronze girl said impassively. Period, Ine. Put him under Nina, commanded Kaz. Don't, Matthias protested, panic surging through his... You're dumb enough to capsize the boat. Stay away from me, witch, Matthias growled at Nina. Nina gave him a tight nod with pleasure. She lifted her hands, and Matthias felt his eyelids grow heavy as she dragged him into unconsciousness. Kill you, he mumbled. Sleep well. Her voice was a wolf dogging his steps. It chased him into the dark. Alrighty, that's it for now. My throat hurts, oh my god. But yes, that's about it. We will continue next time. Let me quickly see what page this is for you guys. Oh, wait, let's see what page this is for you guys. It doesn't tell me. Yeah, never mind. In that case, it doesn't matter. Let's just go back to our just chatting. Whew. Oh my god, my mouth is actually like a bit tired. Jesus, I am so... Ooh, there. Tinier. That should help then. A little tinier? Maybe here? Alright guys, that was me reading Six of Crows to you. I hope you enjoyed it. Not sure if you did, but I had fun. This book is super interesting, and it's definitely something that I've wanted to read for a while. Pardon me while I adjust myself, essentially. And yeah, it's something I've been looking forward to reading for a very long time. So I'm glad I get to do it with you guys at least. And I'm so sorry that today's stream has to be so short and so cut off. But yeah, my jaw hurts and I'm a little tired. And I still need to make dinner and stuff. I also need to go play some Marvel Rivals by myself. So I can be a little bit prepared for tomorrow's stream. Because that's what I want to do. I want to play it by myself a little bit. And, you know, get essentially acquainted with the controls. Acquainted with what the fuck it is and how to play it. So I'm not an absolute noob or totally useless when I play it. Because I eventually plan on playing it with friends. For example, I know Kai plays this a lot. And I know that, it's just been all over my timeline on Blue Sky. People have just been playing this game over and over and over and over again. Oh no, I forgot to bookmark where I was. Wait, let me quickly find it. There it is. Bookmark, and then I close the book, and then I put it away, and then I get my keyboard back. Nice. Alrighty, so we will continue reading probably this Saturday or this Sunday. Anyway, this upcoming weekend, pretty much. But tomorrow we'll be playing Marvel Rivals very early in the day, specifically at, let me check the time because I've forgotten. Oh my goodness, I'm yawning. God, having like a normal sleep schedule is crazy, isn't it? I'm just gonna change this. Okay, timing is tiny. And then I can't believe I haven't done a 2-hour stream in so long. I've been averaging 4 hours this last couple of streams, but yes, so it will be at 1 second. So tomorrow's stream will be at 12 p.m. UTC. So, and that is 5 a.m. in Canada and 4 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, 7 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, 6 a.m. Central Standard Time. Essentially, I don't think anyone from the NA region will be there unless they're up really early or not still awake. It's mostly for my EU peeps who probably still be awake, or those in, you know, Africa, certain regions on the continent of Africa. But yes, so, but that brings us to the end of today. I wanted to raid a friend because I know that Jan and Sentient are currently both streaming, and I want to like lurk in their channels and just support them. But let's first of all see whether or not they're still streaming, because it's been a goddamn while. Yes, they're both streaming. Oh my god, and so is BB, and so Elias is streaming too. Everyone is streaming. Oh my god. So is Kishin. Fucking heck, bruh. You know what? Let me... Alright then. We're going to raid into... We're gonna raid Sentient. And then... Yeah. Okay, let's raid Sentient. Oh, in the meantime... Oh, wait. I keep forgetting that this is how I do the thing. Okay, so this is my raid message. So if you're still active in chat, just copy paste this when we move into Sentient's channel. So in the meantime, let's... There we go. Wow, it seems they are doing a thing. Alright, let me come over here and like fuck off. 1 second. Bye, my loves. Thank you so much for hanging out with me. I appreciate you. Thank you for reading with me. Thank you so much. I'm sorry that I had to cut stream off early. I'm developing a headache and I still have a little bit of chores to do on my end. So, yeah. But yeah, we'll continue soon. But don't forget, tomorrow, Marvel Rivals, 12 p.m. UTC. I love you. Bye.